What's up guys, Zaia from 48 Detailing. We're going to be doing a little bit more of a nonchalant video. I'm here to go ahead and wash my 2006 Z4 Coupe SI. I'm going to talk a little bit about the car, talk a little bit about our colored paint protection film that we applied to it about almost 2 years ago, and just hang out, go over how I personally like to wash my cars. I'm sure that's something you guys all want to know and figure out, and see what you can apply from what I have to your arsenal and how you do things in your process and procedure. But I also just want to go over the car in general, and then also go over the color paint protection film, window tint, all that stuff. You know, I've had this car for a very long time. I bought this car back in around 2021, 2022. So I've been trying my best to take as good as care of it as possible with required maintenances, replacement parts. I truly love this thing. It was my first ever sports car, so it means a lot to me, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of it. So let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice quick wash. I usually wash my cars about every other week or so. I don't drive them too often, especially during busier seasons. I have been driving the BMW a little bit more often. The weather is cooler. It's really nice outside. It's always nice to take out a little sports car, rip around town, within speed limit, of course, right? And just have a little bit of fun, you know? So it's got some light dusting on top, nothing crazy, a couple bug guts here and there. Let me show you guys how I wash it. So it takes me maybe about 20 minutes or so to get through a wash on this. And I'll show you guys exactly how I do it. I'll reel out the pressure washer real quick. So first thing I like to do, guys, I just do my initial rinse, nothing crazy. Now, one thing you'll probably find surprising about what I'm gonna do today is that I'm not gonna even have one wash mitt touching the car, all right? You're probably like, what? How can you not actually wash the car with a wash mitt? Well, guys, we have paint protection film on this. We have ceramic coating on this. The car's pretty kept up to date on its maintenance. And I don't really need to get a wash mitt. I only do that once in a while. I would say maybe once a quarter, I actually give it a nice thorough hand wash and like ceramic maintenance package. But besides that, I rinse it off, I foam it down, I let the foam sit, and I rinse that off, and I dry. That's pretty much it. Literally takes me 20, maybe 30 minutes max to get around this whole thing. So let's go ahead and start it up. And the reason I'm able to do that is because I have products on the car that allow me to do that. If I didn't have a coating on this, I wouldn't be able to rinse it, foam it, and rinse it off, all right? And you can see how well the car beads up, right? We have our 3-year coating on this, I believe. I honestly don't remember what we applied. It's either gonna be our 3 to 4 year or 5 to 7 year, okay? And we have the wheels coated, we have everything coated on the outside. It's all beading really, really well. You know, I would say it's like day one on the coating, okay? So just to give you a little bit of an example of the performance of our coatings that we use and how easy it is to get things rinsed off. Now it's just time to foam her down. So I'm gonna go grab my foam cannon real quick. If you don't have a foam cannon, I don't know what you're doing. We have our ceramic soap up in here, Sabun Shusha, and I have a diluted, ready to use format in our 5-gallon cube. I'm over here, guys. Sorry, a little bit of a distance. That should be more than enough. We're set to go. It's a little car, we don't need too much soap. There we go. Grab my foam cannon. Plug that bad boy in. We are set to go. So you can see how well our ceramic soap clings on a ceramic coated vehicle. You know, one problem I always notice when it comes to soaps on the market that say that they're made for ceramic coated cars is that you spray it on. It doesn't really matter how much you use unless you use half the bottle. It doesn't cling on to the paint. The coating is performing too well and the soap isn't able to decontaminate the matrix of the coating, right? You need your foam to cling on your paint so it can get to work. Coatings need to be cleaned just as much paint needs to be cleaned, all right? That's something very, very important. So most soaps on the market, I'm gonna dial this back, when you spray it on, I don't even know if I can get my soap to do it. Nah, it's just too thick, too foamy, all right? Even if I dial it back, I pretty much get the same result, okay? I make sure to foam down my rims too so we get a nice deep clean there. Bada bing, bada boom. You want to change the color of your car to white? Just grab our soap. And it will completely cover that bad boy in a nice thick foam that sticks and clings to any type of ceramic coating on the market. So I'm gonna get the pressure washer off real quick because now it's all about a waiting game. We're just gonna let the soap do its work. And I'll take you guys off the camera so I can walk you around the car real quick, okay? And we'll talk. Bring you guys in. So you can see, soap is cleaned out really, really well. And even if it's sitting outside, of course, the soap is going to evaporate a little bit faster. But this is what you need to look for when it comes to ceramic soap, all right? You want the soap to be stronger than regular car wash soap. A lot of people have a misconception that you gotta be super, super gentle with the chemical that you're using on a ceramic coating. It's actually, the mentality is the other way around. We use stronger detergents and surfactants to properly clean the matrix of the coating, all right? Now, let's say you do this once a week and you keep up with maintenance and you're doing that maybe one deep clean a quarter or every other month. It's depending on your drive time, your driving habits, how much you're driving. You have to take that in consideration, guys. There's so many variables involved. But this is all I do. I rinse the car, I foam it down, and I let that foam sit and do its work for about 3 to 5 minutes max. I rinse off and I dry. That simple. I let the product do the work. And yes, the soap is more expensive than most on the market. Yes, it's gonna take a little bit more out of your bottom line if you're a shop owner, you know, going with a more expensive soap, but this is what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for. And this isn't super highly concentrated. I diluted this, all right? I used a little bit over half a gallon in our 5-gallon cube over there to get the results that you're seeing. So this is diluted substantially. Just goes to show how concentrated the bottle is straight out of the box, all right? You only need about 2 to 3 capfuls in your foam cannon max. That results in about 1 ounce to half an ounce to get these types of results that we're seeing, guys. So just to give you a little bit of perspective, still clinging, still doing its thing. That's what we're looking for. Nice, thick foam. And when you feel it, it's so smooth. It's slick. So when you do decide to put a wash mitt on this panel, you don't have to worry about scratches. You don't have to worry about swirls. If you touch the foam on your car, or you put your hand in your wash bucket to grab your mitt, and you're feeling friction between your fingers, that's not a good soap solution, all right? So there's something to keep in mind. So while we're waiting on the soap to do its thing, I want to talk a little bit about the color paint protection film, and we'll jump into a deeper dive on that in maybe some future videos. But we use Nano on the vehicle that you see here. We've used Nano a few times on some other cars. We don't do color changes too often. There's a lot that goes into a color change, all right? People have this misconception that vinyl and paint protection film are the same exact thing. That is not necessarily true, all right? If you are doing an installation, depending on the complexity of the vehicle, depending on the amount of parts and trim pieces and door handles and things like that that you have to remove, you have to keep all that stuff in mind. And a lot of people don't understand that sometimes there's a full day to 2 days of disassembly and reassembly. Sometimes we have to call a technician from a manufacturer to come out and disassemble and reassemble the vehicle for us. Because let's be honest, even though we're very handsy, know-how type of people and we can work our way around taking off a door handle and this and that, when you're working on a really expensive car, or when you're working on a rare car like this one, that there's barely any parts available on the market and you have to wait months on end, if you mess up one thing, the customer's out of a vehicle for weeks, maybe even months. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory. I actually had a police officer rear-end this car while I was in a parking lot getting a haircut, okay? The police officer was driving a Range Rover. I was just getting in my car, and he was pulling out from his parking spot, and he hit the rear quarter over here and completely destroyed my rear end, sadly. A no-accident vehicle went to fucking, excuse my language, just trash on its record because somebody was not paying attention to the 1,000 sensors and 1,000 cameras that he had on his car. Well, long story short, my car was in the body shop for like 4 months, okay? Because the hatch was difficult to find, the quarter panel was super difficult to repair with the flared surfacing, and on top of that, we couldn't find a quarter glass because it cracked and shattered during the impact. It took forever. The body shop finally found one straight out of Germany. There was only 2 available left in the market. One was pre-owned and the other one was brand new. So things like this can happen, all right? And the last thing we want to do if we're doing a full body color change, because we have to get almost every possible surface covered in that color change film to give you the best overall results, is damage something, all right? And we have to take on that risk. So that's why I steer away from doing too many color changes, because it's not our bread and butter. We're here to protect and preserve what's currently there on your vehicle. But it's a really nice option. I've enjoyed it. NanoLink has performed really well. The installation went very smooth. It took us about 4 days between 2 technicians to just finish a car this size and get it dialed in the way that you see here. And of course, we have Aztec Damascus film on some accent pieces around the car. Damascus is our thing here at 48 Detailing. We're very well known for it. We have it on our C8. We have it on the Z4. We've done other C8s and Camaros and things like that in Damascus. And that's been performing really well too. Overall, I've been very, very happy with the film. I don't see any kind of degradation in the gloss or the shine thus far. It looks pretty much exactly like paint. So with that in mind, let's jump into rinsing this bad boy, because we're getting there. It is time. It's been a little over 5 minutes now. It's time to rinse it off. All right, let's get that quick disconnect on. Smack it. Oh, I turned off the pressure washer, I forgot. Don't you hate when that happens? It even happens to the best of us. Test out your quick disconnect. You always want to make sure that it's properly in there so it doesn't fly on your car. Trust me, it's happened to me before. That's why you always double check, okay? So when you're doing this type of wash process, the foam down and rinse off on a well-maintained ceramic-coated vehicle, one thing you'll notice, I pay a lot of attention to the gaskets. I pay a lot of attention to the edges, because that's where dirt accumulates. And since we're not providing friction to clean it off, right, I need to put pressure in there to make sure to knock out all that dirt and grime that I didn't get with a wash mitt. So something to keep in mind, you're going to spend a little bit more time on the rinse process because you don't have the advantage of friction with your wash mitt to get it cleaned, right? So something else I want you guys to notice. I'm gonna bring you in real quick. Sorry for the shakiness. Something else I want you to notice. I'm gonna bring you up close and personal on the hood. How many car soaps have you guys used on a ceramic coated car where you're rinsing it off and it's like all your beading and hydrophobic ability disappear, right? Well, the reason why that happens is those manufacturers using very, very cheap detergents and surfactants. One key takeaway from our ceramic soap is that the rinse process is very simple. It rinses off like nothing. I don't care how much soap you use. See that beading ability? Nothing has changed. It's honestly gotten better because we're actually rinsing off the detergents and surfactants and all the residue from the soap, all right? That is why price points come to play. The actual solutions, the dyes, the fragrances, when you're using a cheap product, it clings onto your paint and starts to accumulate over time, completely destroying the surface tension and beading ability and slickness of your coating, all right? This looks better even than our initial rinse because it did a proper cleaning, removed all the dirt and grime, but now it's removing itself and leaving no trace of it behind. What I like to call soap that sticks onto your paint and it removes your beading ability is soap scum. And it's very difficult to remove soap scum from a car after it's been accumulated wash after wash after wash. That's why it's so important to make sure you have a soap for a coated car that rinses off easily, properly, and completely. And now we just dry the car. That's it. It's that easy. After that, if you want to do a deeper clean with some glass cleaner and glass inside and out, door jams, tire dressing, that's all up to you. But literally, guys, I'm like 15 to 20 minutes in on this whole project. I can knock out all three of my cars, the Corvette C8, the Corvette C3, and my Z4 in an hour if I wanted to. I just do them back to back to back throughout the whole process. But that's pretty much it, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry it with our drying towel. And while we do that, talk a little bit about the Z4. If you guys don't know, the BMW Z4 was the development to compete against the Porsche Boxer and the Porsche Cayman. Now, the convertible top version of this car was very, very popular, all right? The coupe, not so much. They didn't really sell too many. They sold a little bit over 2,000 Z4 Coupes, SI specifically in North America, and they sold maybe about 1,000 or so of the Z4M, which are very, very rare today, and are collectibles, just so is this, but even more so. The Z4M, you know, in good condition, you can find them for around like $45,000 to $50,000. Don't know exactly where the market is right now. The SIs are going to be a lot cheaper. You could pick these up for the coupe specifically anywhere between low 20s to high 20s, just depending on mileage. Mine's got almost 90,000 miles on it right now. I purchased mine back, like I said, around 2021, 2022 for 17, and it had a little bit under 40,000 miles on it at the time. So I have driven this car. It was my daily driver for some time too, which is so much fun. And overall, the car has been great. You know, I mean, there is maintenance that's involved, right? I do religious oil changes. When I say religious, I mean religious, all right? And I do them about every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. I do a transmission flush and oil change about every 30,000 to 40,000 miles. So I've gone through one of those so far. And my plan is to keep this car forever, for the long haul. I think it's one of the prettiest cars that BMW has made, and that's saying a lot because BMW doesn't really make too many pretty cars. I would say the Z4, the Z8, the M1, those are pretty cars from BMW, right? So the way the design language is going for BMW from now on is, honestly, it's interesting. I do like some of them, but I don't think they're as pretty or as beautiful of a design as the Z4 is. So something to keep in mind. And of course, the predecessor of the Z4 was the Z3. And if you guys don't know the Z3, in the coupe format, it was called the clown shoe because it looked like a clown shoe. Not the best looking car, interesting looking car, but still very, very desirable. If you're in the market for a nice, affordable, good bang for your buck sports car around that $20,000 range, you cannot go wrong with this car. The inline six in this car is just beautiful. It runs beautifully. It's got just enough power for the size of this car. You're not going to be ripping around town like you would in a C8 or something like that. But that's the great thing about a car like this. You have just enough power to have fun, but also not enough to the point where you're getting yourself arrested and in jail. All right? And like I said, this engine screams all the way up to 7,500, around 8,000 RPMs. When you hit that 5,000 RPM mark, my gosh, it sounds gorgeous. We do have an exhaust on the car too, a couple little modifications here and there. But overall, awesome, awesome experience with the car. I've loved every minute of it. Out of my 3 sports cars that I own, the 2 Corvettes and the Z4, this is the funnest car to drive overall, okay? I have the best time in this car specifically. So that says a lot, you know? For almost a 20-plus-year-old car to be just as fun or even more fun than a brand new C8 Corvette, that says a boatload about the car itself. And I just think they're so underappreciated for what they are, and you get so much for your money. And yes, you know, you might not have all the technology and all the, you know, brand awareness around Z4, like maybe some other things like the M3 and this and that, but true car guys and car girls do know about this car, and they respect it a lot because there's not really much like this on the market. I mean, the closest thing you got is a Toyota 86. Which you're paying $20,000, $30,000 more than a used good condition model like this for a brand new Toyota 86 or Subaru BRZ, whatever it might be right now, and doesn't look as good, has less power, doesn't handle as well, and is a heavier car, you know? Yeah, it's not a BMW, you know? You're comparing Toyota, Subaru, and BMW here, you know? Who's gonna win it? But great car overall. Like I said, I am not getting rid of this. It's going to stay within the collection per se. And I'm going to continue to maintain it and maybe one day completely restore it from the ground up to its original glory. Right now, I'm just doing what I can with what I got. When it comes to colored film, I redid some of the interior portion as well. I'll show you that in a second. And we are mainly focusing on just mechanical maintenance between me and my good friend Joe, who owns Desert Star Auto. He works specifically just on German vehicles. And he's been maintaining the car for the past 4 or 5 years. I haven't gone to anybody else. So it's been with one specialist mechanic since then, and will continue to do so. All right, guys, there she is. Got her all cleaned up. She's not perfectly dry. I will get my air compressor and my blower to blow out all the nooks and crannies like the rims and door jams and everything, get that all dialed in. But I just want you to take a closer look at the film. Look how pretty that looks. It's like a two-tone film. You got shades of purple, shades of blue. It changes with all the light and the angle that you're looking at it. And of course the Damascus film to accent it. God damn, look at these spots I miss. Who the frick dried this car? I don't know. Don't blame it on me. Look at the windshield. Original windshield. It's crazy. It's all pitted up like crazy. Hopefully I can get a replacement on this. I should probably get it on sooner than later because I would like a new windshield. It's pretty pitted. Pretty bad. So, I'll show you around what I've done to the car besides just the film and things like that. We did do coilover suspension. Lowered it just a tad bit, about 1/2 inch, and I did even the suspension out too. It did have original suspension, and on a 20-plus-year-old car, that suspension starts to take a toll, especially on one that's been sitting for a while from the previous owners. So we went ahead and did aftermarket coilovers on it. I got a little bit of a spacer on both front and rear, and then also upgraded disc slotted rotors as well. Kidney grills, went ahead and made the black. added some front splitter accents and also side skirts as well. Aero, bro. Like that's actually gonna help out. Nah, not really. And then the interior, I redid the interior. Now, I call this the weekend job because I gutted and redid the interior on a Saturday and a Sunday. All right? This was originally beige, as you can see over here. It's not completely completed. And then I transformed it to black. I dyed the carpets, I dyed the door panels and door cards, I added a little bit of blue suede Alcantara. We got the blue race bucket seats over here with the quilted leather. We do have an aftermarket steering wheel. We do have an Android infotainment system for Bluetooth and Android Auto. And then I went ahead and made all the ugly wood trim into black. It's not perfect. I spent 2 days on a complete interior job, and there was a lot of areas of just wear and tear. For example, I had a massive hole right here where your armrest is. Same thing over here as well. So I replaced the leather with this nice kind of BMW themed eBay shoe that I put on the e-brake and the gear selector over there. But overall, it's in great condition. You know, again, it's got 90,000 miles on it, and I drive it, and I beat on it, and I haven't had one issue whatsoever. Of course, we did a little bit of an exhaust modification as well. Trunk area, just got some spare towels. Surprisingly, plenty of trunk space, you know? Plenty of trunk space. For a car this small, it's honestly impressive. Like I said, I use this car as a daily driver for a very long time, and trunk space was never really an issue. And of course, if you pull this out, that was the original color right there, that ugly old man beige that you're seeing. But again, who's pulling that out? So, there you go, it's black again. The cool thing is, when I was working on this car, how easy it was to take apart and put back together. You know, that was the nice thing about the car, and now I was able to finish the interior so quick, is that everything was just cheap plastic clips. Some of them did break, but you know, a little bit of super glue and zip ties never hurt anybody, right? So it's not perfect, guys, but I think it turned out really good, a lot better than where it was before. Here's the passenger side. Got a little bit of Damascus accents over there. There's that suede right there. You can see a little bit of it is peeling back in some areas here and there, especially on those wrapped corners and edges. But again, I'm not stressing because after I beat on this thing long enough, I'll just do a complete restoration of the car. You know, maybe even put a B58 motor in it, turbocharge it, just make it all out. I don't care, you know. I'm gonna drive it, I'm gonna enjoy it. When it's time to pump another 50K into it and make it my own, I'll get to that point, but we're not there yet because we got those two bad boys too. We got some projects coming up on as well. And one cool thing about the design, this was actually the first car to have flamed surfacing design on the vehicle. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but take a look at that body panel, the fender, and then also the door panel and lower rocker. If you look real closely, it's a Z. Boop, boop. They worked the Z into the design of the car with the BMW logo right in the middle. How badass is that? And where do you see this type of design nowadays? That is like one of the coolest features on the car is the little side indicators on the fenders like that with the BMW logo. It fits so uniquely and perfectly all at the same time. So that's the BMW Z4, guys. I know this is a little bit of a different style of video. One thing to keep in mind in future, I do want to make our YouTube channel a little bit more personable. I want you guys to learn a little bit more about me, my passion for cars, my passion for detailing, my passion for film, and also my passion in just the automotive industry alone. So with that in mind, if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe if this is your first time on the channel. And hopefully in the near future, maybe we'll do a full review of the Z4, the C8, the C3, and any other car I can get my hands on. I've always wanted to do really nice quality automotive reviews with my perspective on the cars that are coming out today and also in the past and maybe in the future. With that in mind, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.